Okay, we have time for another sutta, 113, Sappurisa Sutta, the true man. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's spa. There he addressed the monks thus, "Monks, noble sir," they replied. The Blessed One said, "Monks, I shall teach you the character of a true man and the character of an untrue man. Listen and attend closely to what I shall say." "Yes, noble sir," the monks replied. The Blessed One said, "Monks, what is the character of an untrue man? Here an untrue man who has gone forth from an aristocratic family considers thus, I have gone forth from an aristocratic family, or royal or noble family. But these other monks have not gone forth from an aristocratic family. So he lauds himself and disparages others because of his aristocratic family. This is the character of an untrue man. But a true man considers thus, it is not because of one's aristocratic family that states of greed, hatred and delusion are destroyed. Even though someone may not have gone forth from an aristocratic family, yet if he has entered upon the way that accords with the Dhamma, entered upon the proper way, and conducts himself according to the Dhamma, he should be honored for that, he should be praised for that. So putting the practice of the way first, he neither lauds himself nor disparages others because of his aristocratic family. This is the character of a true man. Moreover, an untrue man who has gone forth from a great family or from a wealthy family or from an influential family considers thus, have gone forth from a great family or wealthy family or influential family. But these other monks have not gone forth from such families. So he lauds himself and disparages others because of his family. This too is the character of an untrue man. But a true man considers thus, it is not because of one's family that states of greed, hatred and delusion are destroyed. Even though someone may not have gone forth from an influential family, etc. Yet if he has entered upon the way that accords with the Dhamma, entered upon the proper way and conducts himself according to the Dhamma, he should be honored for that, he should be praised for that. So putting the practice of the way first, he neither lauds himself nor disparages others because of his family. This too is the character of a true man. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says, an untrue man who does not conduct himself according to Dhamma, if he comes from a good family background, he'll be very proud of himself, very haughty, very arrogant. So when we know the Dhamma, we don't think of our background. A lot of people always thinking about your background. You don't look at your faults. Your faults are more important to look than your wealth or your family background and all that. Moreover, an untrue man who is well known and famous considers thus, I am well known and famous, but these other monks are unknown and of no account. So he lauds himself and disparages others because of his renown. This too is the character of an untrue man. But a true man considers thus, it is not because of one's renown that states of greed, hatred and delusion are destroyed. Even though someone may not be well known and famous, yet if he has entered upon the way that accords with the Dhamma, entered upon the proper way, and conducts himself according to the Dhamma, he should be honored for that, he should be praised for that. So putting the practice of the way first, he neither lauds himself nor disparages others because of his renown. This too is the character of a true man. Stop here for a moment. So sometimes certain monks, after a few years, becomes famous. In the Samyutta Nikaya, there's one chapter on Labha Sakara, where the Buddha says that gains and fame are a great obstacle to the holy life. Especially fame. If a monk becomes famous, a lot of dangers come together with it. So the Buddha says it's good not to be famous, not to have some name, keep a low profile, otherwise it's an obstacle to the holy life. And also the Buddha says once a person becomes famous, his character changes usually, just like some people, where lay people when they become wealthy, their head swells. So similarly with monks when they become famous. Moreover, an untrue man who gains robes, arms, food, resting places and requisites of medicine considers thus, I gain robes, arms, food, resting places, and requisites of medicine. But these other monks do not gain these things. So he lauds himself and disparages others because of gain. This too is the character of an untrue man. But a true man considers thus, it is not because of gain that states of greed, hatred, and delusion are destroyed. Even though someone has no gain, yet if he has entered upon the way that accords with the Dhamma, entered upon the proper way and conducts himself according to the Dhamma, he should be honored for that. He should be praised for that. So putting the practice of the way first, he neither lauds himself nor disparages others because of gain. This too is the character of a true man. Moreover, an untrue man who is learned or who is an expert in the Vinaya, or who is a preacher of the Dhamma, or who is a forest dweller, or who is a refuse rag wearer, or an alms food eater, or a tree root dweller, or a charnel ground or cemetery dweller, an open air dweller, or a continual sitter, or an any bed user, or a one session eater, considers thus, I am such and such, but these other monks are not such and such. So he lauds himself and disparages others because of his being such and such. This too is a character of an untrue man. But a true man considers thus, it is not because of being a one session eater, etc., that states of greed, hatred, or delusion are destroyed. Even though someone may not be such and such person who practices such and such, yet if he has entered upon the way that accords with the Dhamma, entered upon the proper way and conducts himself according to the Dhamma, he should be honored for that. He should be praised for that. So putting the practice of the way first, he neither lauds himself nor disparages others because of his being such and such. This too is a character of a true man. Stop here for a moment. So here, sometimes certain monks, they practice certain things, ascetic practices, and they become arrogant because they think they are a forest monk, or they are a ascetic monk, or they only beg for their food and all that. But if he knows the Dhamma, then he knows what is important is to get rid of greed, hatred, and delusion, not to have an inflated head. Moreover, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, an untrue man enters upon and abides in the first jhana, which is accompanied by applied and sustained thought. With delight and pleasure born of seclusion, he considers thus, I have gained the attainment of the first jhana, but these other monks have not gained the attainment of the first jhana. So he lauds himself and disparages others because of his attainment. This too is a character of an untrue man. But a true man considers thus, non-identification, even with the attainment of the first jhana, has been declared by the Blessed One. For in whatever way they conceive, the fact is ever other than that. So putting non-identification first, he neither lauds himself nor disparages others because of his attainment of the first jhana. This too is a character of a true man. Moreover, with the stilling of applied and sustained thought, an untrue man enters upon and abides in the second jhana, or the third jhana, or the fourth jhana, or the base of infinite space, the base of infinite consciousness, or the base of nothing, that is of nothingness, and the base of neither perception nor non-perception. And because of that, he lauds himself and disparages others because of his attainment. This too is a character of an untrue man. But a true man considers thus, non-identification even with the attainment of the various jhanas has been declared by the Blessed One. For in whatever way they conceive, the fact is ever other than that. So putting non-identification first, he neither lauds himself nor disparages others because of his attainment of the various jhanas. This too is the character of a true man. So the Buddha says, true man who understands the Dhamma, and he is not conceited because of his attainment of the jhanas or the high knowledge or whatever, because he knows that there is no self, no self. Ultimately, so it's very important to be guided by the Dhamma. If you are not guided by the Buddha's Dhamma, sometimes a person can attain quite high states and then fall down from there, just like Devadatta. Devadatta attained high states and his ego was a stumbling block. So this ego is very important. but you only realize that when you are quite familiar with the Buddha's Dhamma. In fact, somebody like Mara was probably a cultivator in a previous life. Somebody like Mara probably attained some jhanas, but because of his ego, ended up being Mara. So if you are not careful, we can also end up being in his gang. Moreover, by completely surmounting the base of neither perception nor non-perception, a true man enters upon and abides in the cessation of perception and feeling, and his stains are destroyed by his seeing with wisdom. This monk does not conceive anything, he does not conceive in regard to anything, he does not conceive in any way. That is what the Blessed One said. The monks were satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. This last part, is he a real Arahant? He does not conceive anything, does not conceive in regard to anything, does not conceive in any way. He has no opinions whatsoever in that sense. He does not think at all. Does not use his mind because he is no more self. So the higher we progress on the spiritual path, the less views we have, the less opinions we have, the less conceited we become. The more childish, the more childlike we become. Just like in the Bible, Jesus liked to play with some children, and some older people try to chase away the children, and Jesus said, don't chase them away. And Jesus said, you all have to be like children. Unless you become like children, you cannot enter the kingdom of God. In other words, we have to be innocent, like children. A lot of people, as we grow older, we become more cunning. Okay, okay, I think we can stop here for tonight. Anything to discuss? And yet what? Yes, but when a person attains the jhanas, he has got rid of the 5 hindrances. But the 5 hindrances is not about the ego. He has got rid of sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry and doubt. But even though he has got rid of them, the roots have not been eradicated. So when the condition is right, sometimes, for example, in the suttas, it is mentioned that certain rishis, certain ascetics, and they got very angry with certain villages. They use their psychic power and burn the whole village. So this ill will, even though they have eliminated ill will, but because the root has not been eliminated, if their ego is such that they become angry, then this ill will can rise up suddenly. Yes, this when a person attains the jhanas, they are states of one-pointedness of mind. So you can only achieve one-pointedness of mind if you are fairly equanimous. But it's only in the 4th jhana that you have perfect purity of equanimity. That's why I always say the 4th jhana is not just purity, it is utter purity, parisuddhi. perfect purity of mindfulness and equanimity. So in the fourth jhana, the equanimity is perfect. But even in the first jhana, there is already some equanimity. Otherwise, you cannot attain that first jhana. You mean whether a Sotapan does have Jnana Bhuta? Yes. If a person has become a Sotapanna, it means that he has seen the Dhamma as it really is, but not the ultimate Dhamma, because he has seen the basic Dhamma, has seen impermanence, basically. So, this right view of a Sotapanna is not as deep, as not as profound as the right view of a Sakadagamin, which is not as profound as the right view of Anagamin, which is not as perfect as the right view of an Arahant. So there are different levels. So you can say that a Sotapanna does possess knowing and seeing, but not as well as Arahant.
Talking about ego, and what I think say, am I correct in understanding that only an arahant can let go of all his ego? Because otherwise, from what you're saying earlier, even those that attain the jhana, they're able to develop psychic powers, but some of them still retain his ego.
Yes, you must be careful, States, jhana states are not Aryan states. Aryan states are the first path, first fruit, second path, second fruit, third path, third fruit, and fourth path, fourth fruit. The 8 Aryans. There's a great difference between jhana states and these Aryan states. These Aryan stages, once a person becomes an Arya, that means he has understood the Dhamma. So only by understanding the Dhamma that our ego reduces. Whereas meditative states like these jhanas, they are states of great tranquility, great peace, but the ego is there. So unless it is combined with knowledge of the Dhamma, then it's dangerous. It's just like a person has a sharp knife. The higher states of jhana that he achieves is like he's carrying a sharper knife. So, with a sharp knife in your hand, if you don't know the Dhamma, you can create a lot of havoc. You can be a very dangerous man. But if you know the Dhamma well, then even with a sharp knife in your hand, you are still harmless. Right? So that's why, especially like psychic power, if you don't have a good foundation in the Dhamma, it's dangerous to cultivate psychic power. Because some people, when they attain certain achievements, then the ego becomes very big. Then they think of harming others. Okay, so you can end here. The experience of samadhi, What's the author's name? Forgot.